It is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. And the fact is that originally it's, oh yeah, you know, we're looking towards everything. Then they had to double down. They actually redacted this statement. They redacted a statement. They redacted the statement saying we're looking at everything, saying, no, we're actually not looking at most of the stuff. We're looking at a lie spread on social media that went viral. We are looking into a literal lie spread on social media that got spoken into fact. We're looking at a lie.
Picture it. A packed Liberty home crowd on a steamy June night. The final horn has barely stopped echoing when Chicago's Angel Reese strolls into the interview room. Braided hair pulled back, iced-out pendant catching the lights. She slumps into the chair with that trademark, I run the show, grin. Cool, comfortable, in control. Cameras lock focus, boom mics dip closer. Reporters expect the usual boilerplate about improving on defense and flushing the loss. Instead, in a single breath, Reese drops a sentence that ripples through every row of that cramped media scrum. I get so much love in person. I've never had a negative encounter. Ever. And just like that, 4 weeks of headlines, hashtags, and heated think pieces combust in real time.
Well, it looks like Angel Reese. Well, it looks like she's just been caught in what could certainly be taken as in a lie. All right. All these things that she says she has dealt with over the last year, all these encounters of racism.
For nearly a month, the prevailing storyline painted Indiana Fever fans as venom-spitting villains, racist hecklers who drove the league's newest star to tears on a free throw line. Twitter lit torches, talk shows booked panels, and columnists penned sermons about hate in the W. The league, staking its credibility on fairness, launched an investigation worthy of a congressional subcommittee, interviewing ushers, scanning 4K security reels, splicing audio like CSI. Findings? No slurs detected, no complaints filed, no one reprimanded. Yet the chatter refused to die because one crucial domino hadn't toppled: Angel Reese herself.
3-time BET Sports Woman of the Year, Angel Reese, says she doesn't pay attention to what folks say about her online because no one has ever said a negative word about her in person. Uh-oh. So what have you been talking about for the last 17 or 18 months? Uh-oh. I hope she realizes she just admitted this and did so on camera with audio. Yeah, nobody's ever going to let her let this down now.
She had stayed on script, hinting at ugliness, reposting cryptic memes, letting her followers connect dots she never quite drew in ink. Until tonight. In 41 casual syllables, Angel neutralizes her own alarm bell and leaves the room clutching a live grenade. Every outlet that ran with the allegation, every talking head that wagged a finger at Fever Nation is suddenly scrambling for cover. Did we mishear? Was context chopped? Producers cue the clip again and again, but the words refuse to morph.
For you, Angel, tonight you were extremely efficient, played with a lot of poise and confidence tonight. For for all the scrutiny you do receive online and stuff of that nature, what kind of messages a game like this send to them, as well as just the kind of momentum that this can build for you throughout the season?
Yeah, obviously don't worry about what's going on online. I get so much love in person. I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person ever. And I've been going through this for 3 years. I've never had an encounter in person that was negative. So people online are behind a keyboard for a reason, and I don't worry about that stuff. I trust my work. My teammates trust me. And I was telling Milla today, like, she felt like she was having a rough day, and I was like, how many times have I had a rough day? And you picked me up. So don't get down on yourself. I know my teammates have my back, my coaches have my back, and that's all that really matters. I don't have to prove anything to anybody but myself and my teammates.
Second row on the left.
Angel, I know tonight was not as you expected.
Can I say something? This is a
I've never had a negative encounter in person. Full stop. No asterisk, no, except that one time. If this is the same player who supposedly endured a torrent of hate, the contradiction is deafening. Let's rewind. The origin of the entire saga wasn't a broadcast mic or a courtside phone cam. It was a single post from an anonymous X account claiming a Fever fan barked racial epithets as Reese shot late-game free throws. Screenshots birthed outrage. Outrage snowballed into fact. And within hours, ESPN and morning radio were treating a rumor like sworn testimony. The Chicago Sky's coaching staff, blindsided, told reporters they first heard of the incident on social media, after the team bus had already slipped onto I-465.
What's your thoughts on what the league has put out, talk about an investigation, what your league has put out?
Yeah, I think we agree. I think we're, in compliance with them, with the league, and obviously there's no room or space in our game for hate, so we're compliant with everything.
Coach, when did you become aware that there was hate speech there?
I think when everyone else did. I think that, it's something that, we heard about, and so, again, we're just forthcoming with anything that the league is able to do investigation on.
Still, the WNBA, stung by past criticisms of indifference, pledged transparency and dove in headfirst. Investigators canvassed Section 17, row by row, interviewing season ticket holders who'd been shouting defense at the top of their lungs. They synced arena audio to the network feed, isolated every fan mic, and turned up volumes that captured popcorn crunches yet found zero hate speech. They spoke to Fever staff, Sky trainers, referees, ball kids, anybody with functioning ears at games. Not one person corroborated the rumor. The league's final memo used polite corporate phrasing, not substantiated, but the subtext was blunt. This didn't happen.
The league is also taking a big L because there's no apologies to any fans whatsoever on this totally BS statement released by the WNBA. Yeah, you found nothing. That's great. That's accurate. Guess who told you you would find nothing? The entire Indiana Fever fan base said you weren't going to find anything. But this league that has never turned a profit decided to accuse their own fans.
That should have snuffed the fire, right? Wrong. Social platforms had already hard-coded the narrative. Angel Reese's supporters insisted the cameras must have missed something, that witnesses were silenced, that racism dodges microphones the way ghosts dodge proton packs. Hashtags like Protect Black Women kept trending. Critics who asked for proof were branded sympathizers with hate. The truth was taking body blows in a street fight where feelings wore brass knuckles.
What did the league just go through 3 weeks ago? Over what was supposed to have been this race hoax. It turned out to be a race hoax, but this big situation in which the Indiana Fever fans were hollering racist remarks and making racist noises. And the league, 10 days this went on. This fiasco went on. And Angel Reese just admitted to the world she's never encountered a single negative person at all.
Enter the Sky front office, push-pinning 2 goals to their war room corkboard, defend their rookie star, and safeguard her brand. Media sessions were trimmed to 12 safe questions. A liaison monitored every scrum, ready to swoop if conversation drifted off basketball. The tighter they cinched that protective bubble, the louder skeptics pounded on it, and the more weight the unverified story seemed to gain. Because here's the paradox of crisis PR. The harder you shield a rumor's source, the more sinister that shield looks. So when Angel confessed to living 3 drama-free years in the pros, never a negative encounter, she bulldozed her own PR barricade. No spin doctor can laminate that sentence. Viewers saw her relaxed, unflustered, not held hostage by misquotes or editing. The admission was spontaneous, confident, casual, exactly the tone you use when describing something obvious, like the sky being blue or Chicago traffic being terrible. And in that effortless tone lay the knife. She wasn't gasping after a gotcha. She was nonchalantly pulling a Jenga block from a tower built by everyone except her.
Angel Reese, she goes on and she talks about how she doesn't hear about the outside noise, how she's never had a negative encounter in real life, never had a negative encounter in real life. But Ben, there's no way. There's no way she's never had a negative encounter. You see? This is proof of the negative encounter. The WNBA even conducted an investigation about this negative encounter. No way Angel Reese said that. No way she did.
Cue the dominoes. Digital sleuths clipped the quote side by side with her earlier TikTok, where she'd lamented a rough week dealing with Fever fan racism. SportsCenter anchors pivoted from "League must protect its players" to "How did this rumor balloon unchecked?" Radio hosts, who'd scolded Indiana crowds as Hoosier horrors, aired mea culpas between oldies hits. The conversation flipped. Not "How vile are Fever fans?" but "How reckless is commentary culture?" One honest soundbite outgunned a month of suggestive tweets. Of course, backlash doesn't hit in a straight line. It ricochets. Some Reese supporters doubled down, claiming she meant violent negativity, not simple heckling. Others insisted she was pressured into a statement by shadowy league suits. But each alternative explanation widens rather than mends the credibility hole, because the investigation stands untouched. When facts hold firm, dancing verbs only scuff the floor. Meanwhile, Indiana Fever faithful, painted as villains just 7 days ago, are walking with new swagger. They kept receipts, baby. Fan-shot videos from the disputed game recirculate, but now captions read, "Show us the hate." Comment sections fill with polite Midwestern dads sipping Diet Coke in row G, joking about how their loudest offense was chanting "brick." The same chant 29 WNBA arenas use nightly without FBI intervention. What was once defensive frustration morphs into triumphant relief. Turns out we weren't the problem after all.
I mean, what in the world is happening here? So Outkick would go on and say, hold up, let's rewind. Last June, Angel Reese claimed that a white Caitlin Clark fan blocked her and her teammates from entering a team hotel while calling her, quote, a ghetto bitch. Last month, Reese said she had a rough week because she heard a Fever fan shout racial slurs while she shot free throws. Now she says no one has ever said a mean word to her in person.
And then there's Caitlin Clark, inadvertently straddled with a reputation as the league's sincerity compass. She never publicly condemned Fever fans, instead urging focus on growth and respect. Safe, bland rookie lines. Yet when Angel's never-negative confession hit trending, Clark's earlier let the investigation play out stance suddenly felt savvy, even statesmanlike. The hottest rookie rivalry in years now pivots again. Not just scorer versus rebounder, but truth-teller versus spin-builder, at least in the public imagination. Every Sky Fever matchup will sell out on narrative alone. Back in Chicago, the Sky's media staff face a dilemma. No crisis handbook solves neatly. Do they let Angel clarify her words and risk deepening the contradiction? Or do they clamp down harder, hoping the viral cycle exhausts itself? History suggests neither path works when a quote is this clean. Attempted clarifications read like damage control, and silence feels like tacit admission. The only escape hatch may be sincerity, owning that a rumor spiraled, thanking the league for due diligence, and moving on. That course demands humility, a commodity rarer than a 4-point play in pro sports PR.
Angel Reese doesn't care about y'all. It is what it is. She's never had a bad encounter in real life, never had a bad interaction with a fan in real life. Then what was the whole point of this WNBA sham investigation? If you never had a bad encounter with a fan in real life, if you've never had a bad interaction with a fan in real life, then why not just come out, earn yourself some brownie points, and say, come on, nothing took place here. These are just some Twitter trolls. These are my Reese's Pieces making up news just to keep me relevant. Why don't you just come out and say that, Angel Reese? You'd probably get a little bit more, what's that word? Respect. Doing something honorable like that.
But there's a larger lesson flickering beneath the headlines, brighter than any scoreboard graphic. Social media is an accelerant, not a fact checker. A single unverified post can torch reputations long before the first phone call reaches league security. And because outrage sells, mainstream outlets sometimes hitch a ride on a rumor's tailpipe instead of steering toward verification. It's easier to book a panel about bigotry than to replay 3 hours of arena audio. By the time truth catches flight, the clicks are already cashed. Angel Reese isn't the first athlete to learn this, and she won't be the last. In college, she leaned into being a swaggering foil to a spotless Clark brand. The villain, as she once giggled on a podcast. Villains, however, command an audience's trust that their showmanship ends where honesty begins. Cross that invisible border, let fiction masquerade as fact, and the masks stop being fun. They become liabilities taped to your jersey, dragging at every sprint.
But it's more fun pushing a lie. It's more fun playing along, keeping your name in the news, keeping your name in the media, keeping your name around drama. It's what you love. It's what you enjoy the best. You don't pay attention to keyboard warriors. You don't pay attention to the internet. Well, why would we respond to people that we don't care about? Why would we subtweet about people that you don't care about if their opinions don't matter?
The WNBA, for its part, emerges with credibility slightly bruised but not broken. They investigated swiftly, published their findings, and resisted the temptation to extend drama for page views. If anything, the league's no-evidence conclusion now looks prescient, an institutional voice of reason amid a storm of hot takes. Yet the episode underscores how desperately the W needs consistent, rigorous coverage, analysis that treats rumors as rumors, not free-floating truths. Growth comes not only from bigger TV deals, but from a journalistic culture that separates highlight from hype. As for the fans, both fever diehards and casual viewers, they've received a fresh reminder to hold every viral claim up to the light. Skepticism isn't cynicism, it's quality control. The next time a faceless avatar alleges something explosive, the wise response isn't a retweet but a pause. Where's the clip? Where's the eyewitness? Where's the corroboration? Stories that survive those checkpoints will deserve the megaphone. Those that don't should fade before reputations do. So, where does this leave Angel Reese? Paradoxically, in a place still lined with opportunity. She is charismatic, marketable, and, yes, human, capable of missteps and mid-career pivots. Owning this misfire could reboot her image faster than any hush order. Imagine the power of a straightforward statement. The investigation showed no evidence, and my words last night confirm I haven't faced hate in person. Let's move forward and talk basketball. Simple, direct, undefeated by nuance. Fans reward candor the way scorers reward crisp passes, with instant points.
She accused the Indiana Fever fan base of being racist. They investigated it. They said those accusations were false. The least that she could do is apologize to our great state and the fans that show up at these games and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Obviously, she's not going to do that.
And for everyone who rode the rumor roller coaster, reporters, influencers, armchair referees, the takeaway is even simpler. Slow down. Verify. Remember that a compelling story isn't always a complete story. In an era where a blue checkmark can outpace a background check, vigilance is the new baseline credential for credibility. And just like that, the 2025 season isn't merely about step-back threes and transition buckets. It's about which stories earn our trust. So buckle up. The next crossover might not happen on the hardwood. It might happen in a headline. And this time, we'll all be listening harder, eyes open, ready to hit pause before we hit share.